Hi. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the local superhero activity badge for the Squirrels here. This is quite an interesting badge that I'm just going to premise very quickly by saying these kinds of community engagement badges, they tie into what is known as um, the Community Impact Staged badges and also the Million Hands program, which is a UK specific program. The Community Impact Staged Activity Badge is a staged badge that goes all the way up through to network. Um, and in each stage, it takes a certain number of months of engagement with the community, sort of planning and undertaking action to help it, and then sort of showing off what you've done to the world. This local superhero activity badge um, is the first in a series of activity badges that broadly encompass the same thing. But as you will know, any activity badge from a section doesn't transfer across sections. It's only the um, staged badges. So where you can, when you're doing this kind of community engagement badge, I try and tick off as many parts of the community impact staged badge as you can, because it's one of the more prestigious sort of badges that you have on your left arm, going through the regular sections up to network. Um, Essentially, getting stage 4 community impact is very difficult to do. It takes at least 12 months of experience. So starting off sort of young in Squirrels with community engagement like this and bringing that in and then possibly talking to the Beavers section that's attached to your Squirrels section about how they can continue that would be a very interesting way to try and get your young people towards the higher levels of that community impact stage activity badge. And obviously, the more community engagement and impact we have as scouts, the better. It's one of the primary ways we gain exposure and gain more leaders and more members is by community actions rather than word of mouth. Um, so if you can go ahead and try and run local superhero in a very meaningful way rather than just trying to sneak it through, or not fully meet the requirements, then you'd be doing yourself a service essentially. Um, in terms of other badges we can get as we go through this, I will mention some, but for now we're just going to run through the requirements very quickly. There are lots of local superheroes doing great things near where you live. Find out who they are and what they do to help. Different backgrounds to you as well. So this is a big part about community engagement. It can tend to be the case that um, any small unit of people from one particular village or town are kind of the same demographic usually. So it's quite nice to be able to reach out to the broader community and find people of various different backgrounds, cultures, ethnicities, etc., to interact with the young people. That can help dispel a lot of problems that may rear their head later in life if that doesn't sort of happen early on. Um, so to go into some depth here, you can do doctors, nurses, firefighters, teachers, postal workers. Obviously, there's plenty of teachers around you can talk to. Usually, teachers and schools are more than happy to accommodate scouts. In fact, a lot of scout units or groups actually run out of schools and school halls. Um, so it's worth doing that. In addition, I've been to a fire station more than a handful of times throughout my time in Scouts before I became an adult leader. Um, Usually, firefighters are more than happy to take inquiries and show people through the fire stations. Usually, they even have equipment to show and things to give out to kids. They can do demonstrations. I once saw with the Scouts a demonstration of how to cut through a car with jaws of life and things, like extrication tools. That was very cool. Doctors and nurses, I'd be interested to see if you can actually do this inside a hospital or not. But obviously, if you have any contacts that you know or any leaders know in any of these kinds of important industries or sectors, then go ahead and do that. As it says here, you can visit where they work, ask them to visit you, which can happen with police officers quite easily. They can swing by in their car to the hut and give a bit of a talk. Usually there's PCSOs whose job is actually just to do that all the time almost. So you can get in touch there. Video calls are obviously easy. Draw pictures and dress up, maybe. Own discretion on that. Obviously, depending on the financial status of some of your squirrels' families, dressing up, may be difficult for them to gather the sort of prerequisite costume together. Um, Again, visiting a place of sort of the community and discussing things with them can be part of the community impact stage activity badge. Specifically, it is number 1 and number 4, the requirements of going out into the community, investigating the issues and challenges that exist. Again, this is probably a bit too much for squirrels really to do, but they can have a bit of an idea about why those people are there and what kind of issues they face. And discussing sort of what they've learned when they come back to the hut or the meeting place you have is obviously a very easy thing to do and can help to enrich the experience quite a lot. There's not too much else we can really tie in here in terms of other badges. Um, Depending on if you're going to visit something like a ranger station, that could be an opportunity to do some of the outdoor focused badges, like the Explore Outdoors badge, perhaps. If you can connect it to the outdoors somehow, that'd be very interesting indeed. Additionally, part of the All Around Us Challenge Award, which is part of the Chief Scouts Acorn Award, is actually to do with going out and talking to someone like a police officer or a lifeboat crew or a youth worker or something like that. So you can tick those off together quite well. Moving on to the next requirement here, we have anyone can be a superhero if they use their skills to make the world a better place. Design your superhero costume, choose your powers, and think about how you'll use your powers to help other people. You can draw a picture of yourself, edit a photo, dress up, use your powers to clean up rubbish, help the environment, make food for people who are hungry, and look after them to make them feel better. There's a lot to digest here. What immediately comes to mind is something like the Get Creative badge, activity badge, for drawing a picture or taking a photo. That's an easy one to do. If they're making food, that would be part of the Super Chef activity badge. Additionally, obviously cleaning up and helping the environment, as we mentioned, would count towards the community impact stage activity badge. But equally, that's a big part of sort of going out and understanding how to treat the environment, is cleaning up after people and things like that. So potentially you could pull in something a little bit further, like I wouldn't say the Go Wild badge, but I'm sure there's something that you can find that's in relation to that. Other than this, it's going to be mostly parts of the different challenge awards. If you find a way to reflect on sort of new skills here, generally speaking, just anything that they haven't done before, that would count as a new skill as part of the All About Me Challenge Award. Other than that, I'd just say try and run these as team-based sort of activities rather than individual ones. That gives them a chance to win parts of the All Together Challenge Award as well. But if you're careful about setting what tasks they have to do that evening, you could quite easily tick off maybe 3, 4, 5 different parts of other badges as well. And at the very bottom here it says time to put your powers to good use, actually execute your plan basically, and help to recycle, help a local charity, etc. And this is a big part of, again, that community impact stage activity badge. If you manage to span this out over 3 months, which can be quite a big ask, but if you spend maybe a few hours every month, not a lot, doing this, you can tick off all of Community Impact Stage 1, which is going to be a very big sort of thing. If your group scout leader should notice that kind of thing, and especially when those squirrels move up to beavers and already have that badge, that's one of the harder stage badges to get, and it shows a lot of being switched on, having engagement with the local community, actually willing to help out, and that gives them a good foothold to go into stage 2, 3, 4 of that badge, and do a lot of good in the world. A very real legacy there, perhaps, uh, sort of cultivating and mentoring a young person who will eventually sort of has that initial apathy removed, I suppose, right? That's about everything for now. If you talk to a nurse or a paramedic or a doctor, you perhaps could tick off parts of the first aid stage activity badge too. But beyond that, that's about all that I can really advise you in terms of um, ticking things off. Hopefully that's been useful. Have a great day. Bye bye.